Hot or sweet paprika? Which one do you prefer? Enough of that. This video, we're comparing 3 hardware step sequencers. We've got the legendary, I would say, Arturia BeatStep Pro. Did I say bro? Yes, you're right, the BeatStep Pro. We've also got Korg's SQ-64, building on their legacy of the SQ-1. They call that a poly sequencer, the SQ-64. And we also have Torso Electronics T-1 algorithmic sequencer. But hey, for this video, I thought I'd call on the help of my colleagues, Lachlan and Leroy. Sorry, Tom, I meant, no.
Can you not do this, please?
Sorry, it happened again, sorry.
Yeah, send me away.
Leroy.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't actually know what I'm doing here because everybody knows that the BeatStep Pro is the undisputed champion of hardware sequencers for your synthesizers, drum machines, and your software. This is what it is, this is how it looks, and this is why I love it. It is a 3-track hardware sequencer that can control your digital audio workstation, your hardware synths, and even your modular setup. On the back, you've got a whole bunch of CV gate output options, plus 8 individual drum gates for all of you Eurorack heads out there. But in this instance, I'm just using it with regular old MIDI. Yes, that's right. I'm going MIDI out here to a splitter, which is sending MIDI clock to my Volca sample, to my Volca drum, and to the Mini Freak. The reason why I like this kind of style of sequencing is because it's really fast, it's really immediate, and you can just simply enter in the steps as you go whilst you're making your track. Sequencer 2 is, it's actually a melodic track, which is generally used for different pitches or sending different pitches to synthesizers. I'm actually using that with another drum machine in this instance, where it's just sending pitches to the 3 parts on the Volca drum, which I've just got sequenced here in this kind of various way, which you can listen to. Play that with the drums. And then on the first track, I've actually got that sequenced to the Mini Freak synthesizer. So I select sequencer 1. Now, the reason why I really like this is because you're able to actually quantize all of the notes to play particular scales. If you hit the shift button, you can see that there's little sort of secondary writing on the pads here, and I can select, say, a major scale or a minor scale, Dorian, etc., which is really great for coming up with new melodical ideas and patterns for your sequences. Once you've got a sequence in there, it's really easy to press an individual step and change its pitch, and it'll even audition the sound for you. So let me break it down into the reasons why I like the BeatStep Pro. I really like how easy it is to switch between the multiple sequencer channels, with the first 2 sequencing melodic synthesizers and the last one being dedicated for drum programming. Mwah, very nice. I really like the size and the connectivity of it. There's plenty of CV outputs and drum gates for all you Eurorack heads out there. But if you're just a regular MIDI synth user like myself, it will fit perfectly into your setup. and even integrating it into your digital audio workstation will be a treat. And I also really just enjoy the workflow. I love how easy it is to play and trigger your sounds using the pads, sequence the drum sounds using the step sequencer, and things like being able to quantize notes to particular scales and keys to come up with different melodic ideas. So there you have it. That's why I like the BeatStep Pro. Super duper awesome sequencer. That's me done, and I'm out.
All right, Korg SQ-64, 64 pad step sequencer. We've got a wealth of connections. It's powered by either USB or a power supply. It's got 4 tracks, including a dedicated drum track with 16 sub-tracks. Everything you need right here in a hardware step sequencer. And we're going to run it through the ARP 2600 and this little Eurorack setup I've got here, taking advantage of all those connections on the back to power a little groove machine here. Let's get into it. So what do I actually love about the SQ-64? I mean, the fact that I am powering everything just from this little step sequencer right on the desk. I'm even getting power from the ARP 2600, so I don't even need a device or a power supply to power it. And I'm able to really take advantage of all the connections on these instruments. I mean, I'm sending 3 different pitch messages to the ARP 2600. I've got gate and triggers happening to my percussion voice and plats. And I haven't even connected everything up yet. I could connect another 3 or 4 different drum modules or devices and really start to get things going in terms of complexity. This was just a really basic use of all the SQ-64's connections. Second thing I like is the really simple but effective performance features, where I was using the fill function, which when you have steps that aren't being used in your sequence, it fills them randomly so that you can get evolving and sort of improvised step sequences. So that's how I got those drum voices to start being a bit more interesting than just a 4-to-the-floor pattern. The third thing I really like is that it's really easy to get around. So I've got my 4 tracks, they're easily accessible. I've got all 64 pads if I need to use them. And so it's really easy to start creating complex polyrhythms and start cycling through them with like the rotate performance function. And I can even change the step length, what pattern I'm using, without a lot of menu diving. So it's not a steep learning curve. And that's something that's really important with step sequences, which can be a little hard to get used to if you haven't used them before. So I think Korg have done a really good job of packing all these features into a nice small form factor while still being really sturdy and well built. So don't listen to Leroy, don't listen to David, listen to me.
Okay, it's me. Torso T-1 algorithmic sequencer. Yes, small factor, lots of knobs, 16. And you'll see there's no screen. Well, let's go with it. Pulsar 23, you want it? So what's in the T1? What do I love about the T1? What do you want to know about the T1? Well, there's a lot to cover, and I can't do it in this small section because I've got to give Lockie and Leroy a chance too, yeah, with their sequences. But anyway, what I really love about the T1 is that there is no screen. So you just have to trust your body in moving along with the groove. So the Euclidean generative sequence, it's constantly moving. And the way in which the torso, the way in which the T1 does it is actually quite good because it doesn't get too crazy, but you still have control over how much randomness and the kind of generative things that happen. Now, I'm using the Pulsar 23. Oh. And it only has 4 modules. We've got the kick, bass, kind of clap, and hi-hat. So it is a mono synth, but this works really great with polyphonic synthesizers as well because it has a built-in arpeggiator, which is generative again. It also has a whole CC section where in the jam you'd have seen that I was controlling some of the CC parameters as well. I'm using the T1 with MIDI into the Pulsar, but it has 11 CV gates that are completely interchangeable with a very easy to use control panel. It doesn't have a power supply. It's USB powered. It saves everything. This promotes you to be very creative with the gear that's in front of you, whether it's modular gear, whether it's hardware, or even controlling software instruments. I love the T1. Well, you've heard it from all 3 of us. Step sequencer, step sequencer, step sequencer. Anyway, you're asking, okay, so David, is there a verdict? The verdict is it depends on what you're after. It depends if you're starting your journey out with step sequencers or you want to explore new ways of making with a step sequencer. Remember, all 3 are great with software and hardware and modular synthesis as well. You've got Arturia with their BeatStep Pro, which has been manufactured for quite some time now, so that says something about its design. You've got Korg, who have an incredible legacy with manufacturing electronic instruments and devices, and SQ-64 builds on the SQ-1 and go back further to the SQ-10. You've got lots of connectivity. You've got the 64 pads, polyrhythms, and all of that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You've got the new kids on the block. You've got Torso, T1, highly generative, algorithmic Euclidean rhythms, no screen, trust your booty, see if you can move. Anyway, there's something there for everyone. You tell us what you think. You tell us what you like, and I'll shut up. Until next time.